Morning, GraceHill. Once again, we're going to look at Jeremiah 32. And obviously, there's a few things that jumped out at me. And the first is the concept of the kinsman redeemer. We see this in the story of Boaz and Ruth in the book of Ruth, that Boaz was the kinsman redeemer. He was family of Naomi. And because Ruth was Naomi's daughter-in-law, and there was nobody else for her to marry, he married her. He redeemed her. And as we know, the book of Ruth is really about a picture of who Christ is in our lives. He's our Redeemer. And this concept comes up again in Jeremiah 32, where we see that Hanamel, who was Jeremiah's cousin, and by the way, Hanamel actually means God's favor. Hanamel had come to him to offer him the land first, because it says there, as by my field at Ananoth, because as nearest relative, it is your right and duty to buy it. So there's the thing about the kinsman redeemer. And we know that Jesus has redeemed us, and we have God's favor over us as his children. In the story, it must have been easier for Jeremiah to transact, because he'd been given this instruction by God already. God had told him that this was what was going to happen. His cousin was going to come to him, offer him a piece of land to buy, and he was to do so. It could have turned the other way. Jeremiah could have said, but God, have you seen the circumstances around us? Have you seen that we're being besieged? Have you not seen the enemy at the city walls? Why do you want me to buy this land right now? But instead, we see a submissive attitude to God's will in Jeremiah. And I think these numerous verses in the Bible where it declares that nothing is impossible for our God. He's a God of impossibilities. So in the face of very difficult and trying circumstances, hold on to that fact. Go back to the Word, because that's where we learn these things. That's where we get wisdom. That nothing is too hard for our God, and he's a God of his promises. He's not a God who lies. He's not a man that he should lie. So God does not lie. And I think for all of us, if we can hold to that picture, that A, we need to be submissive to his will, and B, remember who we serve. He's a mighty God, a God who does what he promises. And so I just want to encourage you with that today. Hold those two things, those two thoughts in your mind whenever you encounter difficult times. I pray that you have a wonderful day.